Hey everybody, this video is about creatively using a depth map feature in Photoshop that we can apply to maybe our landscape photography, wildlife photography, still life, street photography. So we can come up with something like this as an example, as a landscape image, but with the depth map feature, I can come up with something that looks like this. Are we ready for this? Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, this is dedicated to photography and as a photo artist, pushing ourselves out of the box creatively. All right, so this session, I'm trying to get caught up on things, and I've had a few private emails that came in about depth map and what are some of the ways we can use this. So I'm going to share with you a really creative way that we can use this in Photoshop. It's not the only method, but I find it's pretty exciting to do this toward things that you want to add some depth, like if we're in the landscape photography, if you're doing wildlife photography, something where you have a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. Even it could be done in still life if you're set up that way, and the street photography. So let's take a dive and let's take a look at how do we use this feature in a creative way using Photoshop. Are we ready? Let's do it. All right, starting off with an image, I'm going to start with using a landscape image. So I'm going to go to Photoshop here. Just double click on my workspace area to get the open dialog box. And I'm just using a stock image right here. As people know who've been following me for quite a while, I'm not a landscape photographer, but I'm just going to use this image right here. And I'm going to do Control J or Command J on a Mac if you want to duplicate that. Because the only reason I'm doing this is I'd like to share with you a before and after at the end of this video. And what I want to do now is I'm going to go to the filter drop-down menu here and choose a category called Neural Filters. Now, when you choose that category, major dialog box will open up. Let me move this to the side so we can see this. And down here toward the bottom, there's a category called Depth Blur. So that's what I'm going to use, but it's in beta version, but you can still use it here in Photoshop. So I'm going to activate this. Now, when this opens up, it's processing the image. It actually did that at the bottom of the screen there pretty fast. I'm not going to play around with the manual, say, sliders here, which you can, but I'm just going to choose focus on the subject right here. So I'm going to activate that checkbox, and it's going to reanalyze the image. And my guess in using this is going to probably use the mountains in the background there is what it's going to use to select. We'll see what happens here as it analyzes it. Yep, I don't know if that showed up or not, but this came in very clear, and this is on the blurry side. Again, this is something that you can change if you want by using the strength sliders and the focal range and focal distance, but you have to turn that feature off. I'm just letting it pick these, the subject area there. And I'm not going to get into modifying the temperature and tints and saturation. I mean, you could do that, but what I want to do now is output just the depth map only. So I'm going to activate that checkbox, and then where it says new layer, that's what I want in the drop-down menu. So it's going to create a new layer. This is what the depth map looks like. We'll talk about that in a minute more in depth. I'm going to click on OK. So that should create a brand new layer, which it did right here. Okay, so when you look at the depth map, let me pull this up like this. Think of this possibly as a mask. In fact, I will use it as a mask. And we know the rule of a mask is white reveals, black conceals on a map, or I'm sorry, on a mask. And anything in between, like we have gray there, but a little bit lighter gray versus a lighter gray back there, it has less intensity of blocking out the information, say, on a mask. So an example here is I'm going to go to this layer, and I'm going to add a mask, which is now, there's your mask, it's just blank. But now I'm going to select this, and I'm going to do Control-click with my index finger on the mouse to select that entire layer. So you can see the marching ants right there. I'm going to do Control-C. That should be Command-C on a Mac. It's just a shortcut to copy that information. I'm going to go to the mask here, and I'm going to hold the Alt key down, Option on a Mac. I'll click down with my index finger on the mouse so that opens up that mask, and I'm going to do Control V like in Victor, Command V on a Mac to paste that information in that mask area. So now I'll be using this depth map creatively as a mask with this image. Now this one right here, let me just get rid of my marching ants. I just did Control D like in David, Command D on a Mac to get rid of the marching ants. I'm going to turn off that top layer right there. I just needed it temporarily to create a copy of it to put on that mask. Hopefully this makes sense. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is if I go down to the Oreo cookie dipped in milk down here, and I can choose anything I want in here non-destructively. So just for demo purposes, to keep things simple, I'm just going to choose, say, brightness and contrast. And then with that selected, if I go over here to properties, it affects my entire image as I'm, say, changing the brightness. So I'm going to put that back to normal. But if I take this layer that has the depth map on it, and if I hold the Alt key down, that would be Option on a Mac, I'm going to hold that key down, again, Alt down, Option on a Mac, click and drag up, and it should ask me, do you want to replace the layer mask? Yes. So notice it made a copy of it there. So now when I go over to the brightness and contrast property category, notice it's affecting, why is it affecting just the sky a lot more than it is, say, the middle part, but it's not even affecting hardly anything here. Well, if we look at the mask, if we remember this, white reveals, black conceals on the mask. So when I'm making that adjustment, the whitest areas, which is the sky, is revealing the brightness versus this, which is almost black, is revealing very little, if nothing at all. And all of this in here is sort of in between. That's what this depth map is actually doing for me as a mask feature. Now, let's say, let me go back here. I don't want it to affect the sky. So what I could do here is I'm going to select, which I did, I selected the mask. I'm going to do Control I or Command I on a Mac, and I inverted that. So if we take a look at the mask, now the sky is blocked out with almost black, and this area is white, and in the in-between right there. So again, if I go back here to properties on the brightness and contrast feature, now as I do this, notice what it's affecting. It's affecting the foreground more than it is the mid area, but hardly anything in the sky, very little back there. So these are your choices and options. So I'm just going to move that, say, maybe about right there, and maybe the contrast, I'll move that up a little bit. And then what the heck, let's, think creatively. Let's go out there on the edge, just come back to the Oreo cookie dipped in milk, and let's choose hue and saturation. And I want to use the same depth map that I used on that mask. So I'm going to hold the Alt key down, again, Option on a Mac, click down with your mouse as you're holding that keystroke down, click and drag it up, and we're going to make a replacement. And I added that right there. Okay, so now with the hue and saturation, I'm going to over-exaggerate this so we can see it, but what should be affected the most? Well, again, if we look at the mask, the white area should be affected the most. Very little, say, in the background right there. So let me go back to the property category. So here I am in saturation. And again, I'm just going to boost this up, overdo it so you can see what is happening there with the saturation and how most of it is in the foreground here, very little here, almost nothing in the background. So you can adjust this creatively that fits your artistic vision of the image. And now that I have that done, I want to do something else now, and that is this layer right here that I started with, and I have the original right there, the original mask made from the depth map. I'm going to add a blending mode to this. So if I go to the blending options here, I could play with different blending modes, like maybe multiply. That's too intense, but I could pull back maybe the opacity on that. I'm going to come all the way down to like overlay or soft light. Boy, that looks pretty cool. Overlay looks incredible. I love that look. Now, again, this is very personal. It's like, well, what's your vision? What do you like? And I can play with the opacity if I want to pull that down a bit so it's not as intense. That's what's beautiful about this. You're the one that's in control, but this is what I started with, and this is what I ended up with. And by the way, if you're learning anything here, if you could do me a favor, and that is like the video, subscribe if you have not subscribed, and hit that notification bell. The next time I upload a video, which is at least once a week on a Wednesday, you'll get notified on that. So I like this feature. I just don't want you to have blinders on and think that you can only do this with landscape images. What if you did wildlife? As long as you have something like in the foreground, then your wildlife, and then maybe the background, it could be a forest or trees or mountains, whatever it is, but you can add that depth map to do some creative things with that image. It's the same thing if you're doing like cityscapes, or maybe you're doing just street photography, and it's the same thing. You've got that foreground, maybe some people or parts of a building here, and then other things in the distance. You could creatively use this depth map in Photoshop. So don't put blinders on and think only landscape. Let's think creatively out of the box. And I mean literally out of the box. Until next time, see ya.